You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom. These were the words of a man who lived and died for truth, a man who rose from poverty, prison, and pain to become one of the most powerful voices for justice in American history. And before we dive deeper into his story, I want to ask you something. If you care about African voices, justice, and truth like this one, don't just watch. Join this space. Your comment, your like, your presence helps this content reach more people who need to hear it. Let's grow this conversation together. Now, let's talk about Malcolm X, the man who refused to be silent. Malcolm X was born Malcolm Little in Omaha, Nebraska in 1925. His father, Earl Little, was a Baptist preacher and follower of Marcus Garvey's Pan-Africanist ideas. But speaking out came at a price. The family was constantly harassed by white supremacists. When Malcolm was just 6, his father was killed. Some say it was the KKK. After his mother had a mental breakdown and was institutionalized, Malcolm was placed in foster care. A bright student, he dropped out after a teacher told him that becoming a lawyer was not a realistic goal for a Negro. From there, Malcolm spiraled into street life, eventually being arrested for burglary at age 20 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Prison wasn't the end. It was the beginning. In jail, Malcolm began a profound transformation. He educated himself by reading entire dictionaries, studying philosophy, religion, and history. He converted to the Nation of Islam, a black nationalist movement led by Elijah Muhammad, which taught that white people were the devil and black people were the original people of the earth. When Malcolm was released in 1952, he dropped the last name Little, calling it his slave name, and became Malcolm X, X standing for the unknown name of his African ancestors. With fiery speeches and sharp intelligence, Malcolm quickly rose to become the national spokesman for the Nation of Islam. He preached black pride, economic independence, and self-defense, ideas that were radical in a time when most civil rights leaders promoted nonviolence and integration.
Recently, when I was blessed to make a trip or a pilgrimage, a religious pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, where I met many people from all over the world, plus spent many weeks in Africa, trying to broaden my own scope and get more of an open mind to look at the problem as it actually is. One of the things that I realized, and I realized this even before going over there, was that our African brothers have gained their independence faster than you and I here in America.
In 1964, Malcolm's life took another dramatic turn. Disillusioned by the hypocrisy of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam's internal politics, he left the organization. He founded Muslim Mosque, Inc. and made a pilgrimage to Mecca. This journey transformed his worldview. He saw Muslims of all races praying together. For the first time, he believed that true brotherhood among races was possible. He returned to the U.S. as El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz with a new message. Still bold and uncompromising, but now more universal. He began working with other civil rights groups and spoke out against colonialism, imperialism, and injustice, not just in America, but across the world. On February 21, 1965, at just 39 years old, Malcolm X was assassinated while giving a speech in Harlem. He left behind a wife, 6 children, and a legacy that continues to shape global conversations on race, justice, and identity. Though controversial in his time, Malcolm is now celebrated as a truth teller, a revolutionary, and a symbol of Black dignity and resistance. He wrote most of his autobiography with Alex Haley just before his death. It's considered one of the most important books in American literature. Malcolm debated at Oxford University in 1964 and won over a mostly white audience with his eloquence and logic. The FBI kept a close eye on him, opening a file with over 4,000 pages on his activities. Many modern hip-hop artists, activists, and scholars cite Malcolm X as a major influence. 1. Knowledge is power. Malcolm once said, "Education is the passport to the future." Despite dropping out of school, he became a powerful intellectual through self-education. 2. Stand for your truth. He was never afraid to speak out, even when it meant being isolated. He evolved, admitted when he was wrong, and stood firm in his beliefs. 3. Change is possible. From a street hustler to a global leader, Malcolm's life proves that transformation is always possible. 4. The struggle for justice is global. Malcolm taught us to connect the fight for civil rights in America with the struggles of oppressed people around the world, including in Africa. Malcolm X wasn't just a man of his time. He was a man ahead of his time. His courage, wisdom, and evolution continue to inspire generations. He challenged systems, he spoke uncomfortable truths, and most of all, he reminded us, if you're not ready to die for it, put the word freedom out of your vocabulary. What does Malcolm X mean to you? Tell us in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, voices that matter for Africa and the African diaspora, you already know what to do. Stay, share, and let's build this movement together.